How did it ever make it back up into the intake manifold and be sitting right there? It definitely has beat around in there. Isn't that something what's all happening right there? Let me go back and address the throttle body issue. Okay, I've had these throttle bodies on the car since I built the car. They have been flawless. They have not been any problem. Okay, the screw did not fall out. Ready for drag week rebuild like a week and a half before time. It is what it is. Ready? So other than that, we're going to be loading up this car because I just need to get the screw out of this thing and fix whatever damage happened there. Alrighty, and it is, at least part of it is right there. And all right, so that is that. Like I said, that's it. It definitely has beat around in there because it is no longer round. And there you go. See if you can see this good. There you go. Not round anymore. Flattened. So it probably went into my cylinder, got kicked back out. And there is the rest of the screw head is missing, or the screw itself is missing, the tapered part, but that's neat. It's literally sitting right there. Now I'm going to go grab my borescope and take a look inside here and see if we can see any real big damage. So far I don't, which is nice. Oh. All right. I'm not saying anything yet. So what we know for a fact, you saw it live. This little guy, I'm not going to even put it over the engine because I will probably drop it and then it'll go on top of the piston. Was in the engine. It is, in fact, beat up all to death, flattened. You heard it clattering, and that was sitting right up here. It is what goes on with these engines, especially with big valves, big lift. There's a lot of area they're running, and stuff transfers over on the overlap cycle, and it's just amazing. Piston's coming up, but the intake valve's still down, and it just gets kicked out. And what happens inside? That's why so many times you'll break part over here, and it ends up over there. All the time. And this is like a perfect example of it. And then this thing is actually sitting right there on top. So I think let's pull the spark plugs out of it right now. We can at least see if any of the spark plugs are beat up, and we do a compression check.
Turbo didn't need it. It didn't go out the exhaust.
At least the turbo didn't need it. The head on that, or the threaded section of it, are astronomically small. Where's the throttle body? This is, yeah, so there's still something in there, or something somewhere. That is the original with the beat up one. And that is what's missing. So we're gonna see if we can find it. It might have already, a lot of times that stuff will just flat out impregnate itself in the piston, and so we'll see if we can find it. Send it out the exhaust somewhere. It's probably dinged up my turbine wheel, but if it's out of the engine and the engine's not hurt, Another testament to the sheer awesomeness of the SMX. Just saying. This thing eats screws and
Eat screws for breakfast.
eats screws for breakfast and poops out threads. And still makes record passes. If it's flailing around inside a combustion chamber, it's gonna beat up the spark plug. No doubt about that. So if I pull out a spark plug here that's gotten hit, beat up a little bit, well, know that it's in that cylinder or was in that cylinder, and that's the one we'll start scoping out. Neither one of those two are. Not that one. Handy spark plug holders. SteveMorrisEngines.com. Not number 8. So that's good. Only 4 more to go, Joe.
Now you're gonna put this on me. I'm gonna be the one that
If you find it, it's your
pulls
fault.
out yeah, exactly. All right. That ain't one.
Wow, Joe's milking his position. I'll clean out the intake manifold. All that you see in here is actually, most of it is residual from crossover contamination, and a little bit of wetness is from the upper end lube that's in the fuel. Because the fuel dries out and it just leaves the oil. God dang, can't believe that thing was sitting right there. That was pretty nice. And it said when you were there, it's like, oh man, I bet you I had a feeling that I should have taken the manifold apart before I went up for that round. Because I thought maybe it was sitting there. But I thought, it was running. It was doing everything. How could it possibly still be sitting right there? Until I heard it clanking around. It sounded like freaking marble in the oil pan or something. I don't know what it sounded like. It was terrible. You heard it on the in the previous video, right here. It was so bad I thought it was a transmission. One more to go, Joe.
8.5.
What this will mean is, if I was gonna have to take this motor out and go through it and jerk around with it, I was pretty much gonna be done for a while, just because I don't have time to do it. But if it's this last cylinder comes out unhurt, I think we're gonna go testing again somewhere, because we're going fast. After we put in the surge valve, the old blow-off valves, as the secondary safety if something were to happen again.
What do you think, Steve? Compression test and fire it?
Yeah. Well, we can't fire it because I don't have a throttle body for it, but yeah.
That's why we don't have throttle body anymore.
Yeah, there's a missing throttle body. That is no spark plugs hit by anything in there. So this is, you're witnessing, how many wonders of the world is there? This is 7 wonders of the world. The 8th wonder of the world. Just saying.
We just gotta get a guy out here.
Huh?
Sign some paperwork.
Where's Ripley's, believe it or not, or whoever
Okay.
signs off on that. If you know who signs off on the 8th wonder of the world, let me know. I'd like to.
Should just be a phone call away.
It should be a phone call away. Somebody should be here tomorrow. We have it documented on video. We'll go grab the compression tester and we'll just test it real quick. I'm not gonna bother leaking it, because you would freak out if you saw the leak numbers on engines like these. Don't worry about it. It is what it is. But it'll give us a good reference on cranking. The only thing I'm really looking for now is to see if it grabbed a valve. If it grabbed a valve, you know, now that'll suck. But since I can take the cylinder heads off of this without taking the intake manifold off, always have been able to do that on SMXs. We'll Oh, God darn, it's a hassle taking headers off everything. What are you doing the next couple days, Neil?
Here.
Might be a good job for Neil if we got something down on compression. And thankfully that screw actually could get caught in between the valve and the seat, and if the valve wasn't closed that much, it wouldn't touch the piston. So it won't have a bent valve. The only thing that would ever happen is if it got caught in there, it would nick the seat and nick the valve. Right? $450. You know what they should make the screws out of is a soft aluminum.
Yeah.
$150.
So much compression, my glove's blowing apart.
You don't need it.
What kind of weird old glove you got? I didn't know.
Somebody.
It's the cheapest one we could get there. Fair. $150.
I'm off the hook. My side's good.
Your side's good. All right. 4 down. And I wouldn't worry about anything that's even, 10, 15, even 20 gets a little out. But that's pretty good right there. 150 on all 4. Shoot, it's probably better than what I was thinking. That's okay. Oh, that one's been a little low. That one's 120.
I thought I made it. How low was it?
120. That one's a little low. I think we'll put a scope in that one. 140. I got after this number 6 hole. That's why we're just going to look at it, because I got after that cylinder a little bit. Went a little lean on past here a few weeks ago. Alright, so just that number 6. We'll check that thing out tomorrow when I get a different scope. But so far, if I can get out of this, we're just putting the manifold back on and a throttle body and putting the blow-offs and go race again. It'll be one of the best things that's happened to me all year. Coming back tomorrow, I feel good about it too, actually, because I think that cylinder was already minorly hurt anyways. So, just from tune-up. But all right, cool. All right, back at it tomorrow. So, like normal, here's Bailey's engine out of 2.0, ready for 6 week rebuild. Ready for drag week rebuild, like a week and a half before time. It is what it is.
Did he squeeze through there? He squeezed through that little hole to get up.
Impressive. The dog, Dewey, squeezed right through there. He has no regard for Tom's engine whatsoever. This engine right here, FYI, just for everybody's information, this is the only engine that's ever gone 590s at drag week during the event, not just some random thing later, but during the event, after the event, and is actually still, in my opinion, quickest and fastest because it's proven 577 at 260 mile an hour. This engine 5 years ago, impressive. 5 freaking years ago it did that. It's the same engine, the same SMX. Alrighty, so the scope that I had at the shop was a rotten piece of crap. So I said, screw it, this thing quit working. And so I get with my guy, Snap-on guy, and he brings over this super nice, it's got really good color screen, takes photos, does everything. But anyways, we'll get to that here in a second. So we'll look down this port. So check out. So here is our intake port. There's our valve. There is, we can get right down and see in our deal, and we can magnify. Whoop. And the resolution is still really good, which is pretty interesting. That's really close. So you can see there, no nicks, no gouges, nothing. But we'll actually go through this, and I'll show you that. Everything, going through the spark plug hole, going through the intake hole, and all that jive. But first, let me go back and address the throttle body issue. Okay, I have had these throttle bodies on the car since I built the car. They have been flawless. They have not been any problem. Okay, the screw did not fall out. I explained this really clearly in the first video, that when that blow-off valve, electronic blow-off valve, my boost gate did not open, it sent it instantly, this throttle body closed, it instantly sent 50 psi and probably more in a pulse to this throttle body and went boom and broke it, because I didn't have that on. If I would have had my normal blow-off gates on, it wouldn't have had any problem. Screw didn't fall out, it broke the shaft, okay, because of my negligence. All right, so I have, and let me show you the difference. And as far as no, they've been working flawless. What would I ever change them for? I checked it, everything was great. It's been great. Never had a problem. And still would never have had a problem if it hadn't been for that. All right, they're Loctited in, they're all good. The brand new ones, let me go grab that for you real quick. All right, so here is a brand new one. I have Motion Racework throttle bodies on the shelf here. FYI, I'm not sponsored by Motion Raceworks. I buy all this stuff. I buy these, I bought those, I bought the new ones for my wife's car. I get a dealer discount, but I'm not sponsored by them, so they're not paying me to tell you everything's okay. I'm just showing you, it's trying to explain everything that happened, as it happened, live, so you guys see what it's like to go racing, instead of me just showing, oh, we set personal best record times, you know, personal best times, and it was all great, had a mechanical problem, had to go home. Is that what you want to see? Or you want to see, hey, this is exactly how it works, this is exactly what's going on? I know a lot of you do, most everybody does. We got a few haters in there that just run their mouths, but whatever. But you can see here, the brand new ones, yes, they are welded on the backside. I think that there's a lot of good comments about, oh, maybe they should cut the throttle body in half and make the throttle blade and shaft all one piece. If you want to have $1,000 or $1,500 throttle body, I guess you can do that. I mean, there's just certain practicalities to it. About the only thing that I think it would be a good idea is, I don't actually think you need to have the middle screw there. I think you could take the middle screw out and then the shaft would be solid right here. It would be stronger. I don't think you need the middle one there, but I could be wrong. I think you could just do it with these two outside ones and everything would work. I could be wrong. I'm not the engineer of this, and so it really doesn't matter. But anyways, that is the deal. So don't get everybody's panties all bunched up that Motion Raceworks has a problem. They don't. They've solved this thing. Did I ever look at their recall? No. I got a lot of engines going on, a lot of stuff. I didn't pay attention to anybody's recall. All I knew was everything I had worked flawlessly, so that's all I had. Would I have, and by the way, if this was welded on the backside, it still would have come out because the shaft broke. It broke and separated, and it wasn't a matter of the screw came out. It was a matter of the shaft broke and the bolt didn't have anything to do anymore. Probably just broke the weld that was around it, and it just would have fell out. It is what it is. So let's go back. We'll check this all out, and I'll show you. Let's see for damage. So I have not looked for damage yet. I'm actually showing you this stuff live, so you guys can see, so you can figure out what's going on. We'll talk to you about one thing though, because it is really interesting. Okay, how did that screw head? Where'd it go? It's right there. How did that screw head Yeah, how did that screw head right there, that Nate's holding, for sure, absolutely, there is no doubt. It didn't start its life out bent all the pieces, so obviously it ran in the engine. So it would have gotten sucked into an intake port, beat around. How did it ever make it back up into the intake manifold and be sitting right there? Very easy. So let me show you, and it is amazing actually, that I said this earlier, that all the time, if you break something in this hole, if you break a piston, burn something up, something gets destroyed, the pieces from this cylinder come over and they're all over in every cylinder. It's even if the intake valve is operating perfectly normally. So let me roll this over just enough to open up this intake valve all the way. Okay, now I have that intake valve opened up all the way. You see how big the gap is there? It's matter of fact, the gap is 860 thousandths. Okay, almost an inch. I can run my gauge, or I'm sorry, my scope right through the port, in between the valve and the valve seat. All right, so here goes, right all the way down to the piston. Right there is the piston. All right, it is a simple matter of stuff's beating around in there, and the piston does come up, and the intake valve is open when the piston is going up and when piston is still at the top and going down. There's all this overlap cycle in there. The valve's open enough, obviously, that thing's bouncing around, that screw head is bouncing around, and that thing literally came right back up the intake valve with a reversion, with these intake pulses that are going on at idle and low RPM and high RPM, and the thing just went bing, went back up there, sat. So you hear it on the video, you hear it go clack, 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 clack. Shut it off. It was after the burnout, shut it off. The thing was sitting there idling and sitting there idling. This thing just was ding, 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 boop, popped out, just landed right in the intake manifold. I'm glad it didn't go into another hole and beat around in there. But very interesting. That is the way things work. It always will do that. Maybe your, everybody loves when I say this, maybe your mom's Toyota Camry won't do that because the valves don't open up far enough. But on this kind of engine, they do. Okay. And other, like the big black Hemi over there, that's going to have an inch of valve lift, or other engines that have more than an inch of valve lift. Valves are open a lot, really long time. Stuff goes in, out, a lot of things happen in there. It's very fascinating. But let's go ahead and look at the ports here. We'll show you all the intake valves, the ports. Then I'm going to go through the spark plug hole because it's a little easier to see the piston through the spark plug hole to see if there was, what indication is, or if there's anything stuck on top of a piston, anything around there. All right, so cylinder number 1. Let's get this thing. I'll get the probe, or I'm sorry, get the scope. It is a little long, which is all right. But I think you can read the. There we go. Okay, there is the intake port. As we go down, we will see. Here, let me get this thing a little straighter. There we go. And we can see in there, we know that I did a compression test, so I know that the valve is still sealing up on the valve seat. Let's go over here to number 3, and we're just kind of doing a little visual inspection to see if anything was banging around, anything was going on. All right, and then here in number 5, I don't see anything there. Pretty cool looking intake port. Shiny, nothing going on there. There's some little bit of discolorations here, there. Don't worry about that. I obviously can't get in there and clean the valve off. Let me switch sides here. Okay, there is this intake port. That valve is open a bunch more. There is, for your information, there is the inside head stud. This is a injector, and then that is the inside head stud access through the top underneath the rocker arm stand. Okay, here's this one. That's a little blem right there. That's not from anything other than that was a machining error. Tool bit probably flexed or bent or did something, so it made a little gouge right there. Not a big deal. That's not from anything here. And we got this. Then you get this bent a little bit more. So mainly seeing the glare of the light on there. Glare of the light on there. Number 6, which was the one that was a little bit lower compression. But I know that earlier I had, a couple weeks ago, I had a little tune-up issue with that hole. But that doesn't look like anything got eaten. And number 8 also looks real good. I don't see any gouges, any nicks, anything in the valve. All right. Now, let's look in the spark plug hole, and you're going to see these pistons, which is kind of interesting here. So here's the spark plug hole. Now we're in the cylinder. That is the piston. I don't see that looks like a speck of dirt or something. Let's see here. Oh, this thing takes pictures too. I don't think that's anything right there. Very, very minuscule, if anything. But you can actually take a picture by going. I think the high beam is on it. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. There, now I just took a picture of that one. Now, let's go over here to number 3. Now, typically you see a screw or something that's beating around in there, and it is beat around in there like to death. So there's definitely nothing going on there. Let me bend this just a little bit more so I can get a little more angle on it. Let's try to see something. There we go. See the intake valve is open right there, or actually that's probably the exhaust. I don't see anything there. Take a picture. Dink. Let's go over here to this number 5. And piston's up on very close, so let me get this moved. Best not to bump your engine over with the probe in there, obviously.
Where's the little mark there?
That looks like it might be a little mark there, but it's can't really tell.
It's like 2 blemishes.
Dang it. Yeah, I think that definitely looks like one. Little blemish right there. I think that's a blemish, but there's nothing there on it. Okay. Now let's get in this number 7 hole. There we go. Oh, that's definitely got a couple. All right, so there, for sure. Let's zoom in. Oh yeah, see, that is a imprint of a threaded bolt and a head. All right. Oops, let me go back in there. Definitely got this one. Let me try turning the probe around in there so I can see the rest of the piston. So it is pointing at the top right there. There we go. Now I can see the other side of the piston. Okay, there's the mark. Well, there's one. Yeah, there's one right up there, isn't there? There's a real good picture of that. Well, let me see if maybe this piston's up a little high. Getting to that other side of the piston, I want to see right up there, see that one. Is what I'm trying to see. So, intake pocket up. Alright, so I repositioned that. This is on that number 8, so this is the other side. And that's just this is a reflection off the cylinder bore because of the light. Alright, I take a picture there. So that's just the light. Because if we, yeah, that's just the reflection on the cylinder bore. Shiny. That one is probably, because the crown of the piston is so thick, it must not have hit it hard. Because, to explain what's going on there. Perfect. No. Gonna get replaced. Yes. Gonna get replaced right now. No freaking way. Okay? So for example, I just don't have all the time in the world here to do all this stuff. So, I am gonna go through this, freshen it all up, put new pistons, rods, everything in it for sick week. But right now, man, the thing is just spot on the money. So unless I find that piece of screw head stuck in there somewhere, obviously it was in there, it's not there anymore. Very possible it sent it out through the turbo, which means it's dinged up my turbo a little bit. We'll look at that probably. And then, in fact, we'll send the scope up and look at the turbo. Yeah, we should be able to do that. All right, so let's go over, since we've done that whole side, the screw's not there, definitely went through number 7. Looks like something hit 5. It's amazing how it's just one screw that has made it through all these cylinders. Pretty neat. So let's go in, and I think we'll be able to get this all the way up. The exhaust, we'll give it a little proctology exam here on the turbo. Maybe. See how it looks here. This mine kind of goes in a 180, so this might be a little bit tougher to do. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take the hot side off. I thought maybe I could snake it all the way up there, but my exhaust goes out of the turbo, makes a 180, comes out, and then makes another 90. So it's a little rough to get this up in there. So let's take a look at the other side here on spark plug holes. Let's see what number 1 or number 2 holds for us here. And that piston is super close. So I've just got the probe out of there. Well, that's kind of a neat shot right there. Isn't that something, what's all happening right there? Well, enough playing around. All right. That one looks pretty darn good. Didn't get the one corner. That's just a shadow up there, or is it? Yeah, that's just a shadow, light shadow. Okay, next. That piston is super close. All right, and that one doesn't look hit at all. I mean, you can't, it's really hard to get down that one bottom corner on the exhaust side. The way the probe is and the way it goes into the spark plug hole and the angle. There you go. Yeah, no, that's all hunky-dory. Okay, this one, number 6. This is a slight problem child. Oh, I see a nick right there. Let me get this in a better location. All right. I see one nick there. One nick there. That looks not a big deal. And shadows looks good. Also, don't see any damage, anything. The piston, let's get this at a different angle. And all of that looks pretty fantastic. All right, no problem there. This one has probably, because I got after that cylinder earlier, it probably is that 20 something cranking compression. It made 120 plus pounds of cranking. Probably is that ring is marginal, compression ring, because I got after that cylinder, but the piston's not hurt, nothing's hurt. All right, let's get this one down. And get in there. There we go. All right, now intake pocket looks fine. Let's see if we can get this just a little bit better. There we go. All right, it looks like light shadows. I don't see. Yeah, it's just some light shadows, so I think that's it. All right. I'm feeling pretty happy about the whole darn deal. There is definitely no screw in. It has definitely been eaten up by that. Number 7 was the worst. Number 5 got it a little bit. Yet that was sitting right there. So, and it started from over here. So it got sent all the way back, probably bounced around here, went in that port, got really angry, peed off, beat this one up, moved over here. So it came out the intake port, went in the intake port, came out here, went in this one, bounced around once, came out, back out. So I mean, it's fascinating what happens on inside of an engine. And so hopefully you guys are seeing this and just seeing stuff you ain't never seen before, you know?
Placing their order in an SMX right now.
Placing your order on a nearly bulletproof SMX. So anyways, that is super sweet. I think we will take, the last thing we're going to do here is we're going to take that turbo hot side off so we can look at the hot side on the turbo. Oh, and then I had to make another correction too. So if you look over here, these pallets on all of these cylinder heads, these TA performance cylinder heads, we do porting for competition components. Scott Brown, he does the port. We duplicate it, CNC port it. We just do machine work for him. So when Kyle said, you know, almost every Buick in the world has got our set heads on it, well, probably pretty close. If they came from Scott Brown, we worked on them. But it's Scott Brown's deal. So just a clarification on that. So let's take that hot side off and see if we can go in there and see how much damage it did to my freaking turbine wheel. All right, so before we get involved in looking into the turbo, have all these have comments all the time on people that just aren't quite understanding what's going on with the car and what it is. Okay, so this car is not a competitive pro modified car. It was never built to be a competitive pro mod car. This car, it is a physical, the matter of physics and the universe. It is not possible to be a competitive pro modified car. Not possible. From everything from wheelbase to driver position to engine position to the Mack truck radiator all the street driving, this is a specific built car to be a drag and drive street car. Okay, so horsepower wise, doesn't seem, some questions are, sometimes it doesn't seem that it goes as fast as it should. Listen, I've never yet been able to put 4,500 horsepower down, not yet. Okay, we're sneaking up on it. There is no sense of me putting 70 pounds of boost out the back door until I get that front half figured out. Now guess what? I'm getting the front half figured out because a 108 60 foot and a 3,600 pound car. This car, to be clear, this car is about 1,000 pounds heavier than every pro modified car out there. Okay, it is not intended, never was intended, never shall be intended to be a competitive pro modified car. It's not possible. It's a drag and drive car. And back to that power thing, if you saw, we're currently, like I said, we're not putting all the power to it out the back door because I got to run that front half. We're starting to sneak up on that front half, getting the car figured out more. Got this whole turbo surge and all this stuff all figured out, so I'm super happy with that. You just got to keep in mind what the car is versus what other guys' cars are. And I don't want to drive a pro modified car. I want this wagon. I just really think it's cool. So I want to make this whole platform go really fast. And that's lots of guys are like that. You want to have your car, you want your car to go fast. You don't just drop everything that you do and go buy the exact same car that everybody else has to go run the same class. I just want to do things different. So anyways, let's get back to the turbo and seeing what is eaten or where our anything has gone through this thing is at. All right, you ready? So let's see what the exhaust turbine looks like. See what it ate. Since I never saw that screw thread pattern in the other side of the motor, I'm pretty sure it didn't go out that side. So let's see here. Here we go. Oh, that is one. Now, the flow is actually coming from right there around the scroll and then gets kicked out. It's remarkable. There has to be a ding on this thing somewhere. Just has to be. Because there was nothing left. Well, that thing looks like brand new. Bullseye turbo to the front right there, I guess. That looks pretty goddamn good. Like, I don't see anything going on with it. Alright. So, the only hole that, or it's 5 and 7, are the only holes that are even questionable.
Thought 4 had a little ding.
Had a ding in it, but yeah. 6 actually, or 4. Was it 4? It was 4. Yeah. So let's see if we can get in here and look a little bit more. So the piston is a hard anodized piston. All my pistons for the SMX, actually almost every engine we build is a hard anodized piston. Makes them super tough. It's not a coating. It's a actual heat treatment. So it definitely was there, I think. And in the, here, let's go over here and look at this combustion chamber. I'll show you something too. These are unfinished SMX heads. You can see right here, this would be about the only place on the exhaust side that there could be any damage there. And that's actually kind of where we see stuff. And up here, the way the piston is designed, because it's not a dome piston and it's actually concave, the only place that the piston, anything could get caught in between it, was right here and right here. We could see that it was opposite side of the intake pocket, so it's over here. So it's right here would be the only place, and there I should be able to see, check it out, I should be able to see that, I think. Well, let's see. Let's stick it back down the intake port. You can actually even see the gasket right there, the copper gasket. So that is, you know, the side. We're seeing everything in there. There's nothing in there. All right, so that thing is definitely not in the in that number 7 cylinder, which is the only place that you see any indentation of that screw. Now I'm thinking about it, it probably could possibly eat it on, because it's the outside of the turbine wheel that would grab it and then send it out. It's not like that's the inlet side of the turbine wheel, so it might not have ever hit that part. So it's very possible it probably went out. But all right, man, I'm gonna put this thing together. So like, subscribe, all that happy stuff, buy some merch, and support the wagon. Go Team Wagon. Ready?